Okay, I guess I can explain the timeline, like the difference in timelines that's happening. I keep seeing on Twitter like all this crazy BS things about like the Schumann resonance, like telling us when we're skipping timelines or some BS like that, but that's not even close to what's happening. So I thought I would explain it to you. And just before we start, remember there's no matrix. Everything you do affects everything around you and everyone around you. Like, if anyone offers you something like that, like, oh, we're just in a matrix and nothing matters, like, that's someone who's up to no good because everything you do matters and it matters a lot. So, if you remember from the video I did about the money update and time travel, I explained to you how I'm being sort of held hostage here. And every time I try and leave or go get my money or go home or go with my meals, someone tries to kill me, and we have to keep going back in time, back in time, back in time, and making different decisions, right? So what we found out was that every time we have to go back in time and make a different decision, it creates an alternate timeline. And so over and over again, like there's probably at this point like infinite alternate timelines. And I exist in every single one of them. And you might be wondering, do you exist in every single timeline? And the answer is yes. So there's like one timeline, like it's so strange like how it works, but there's one timeline where someone kills me. There's one timeline where I'm still broadcasting, but I'm broadcasting on a website that doesn't exist where I am. And sometimes I'm simultaneously broadcasting in one timeline and in another timeline, and in one of them I'm not even like at home, like I'm out doing something else. So it's really strange what's going on. Like it's the timelines are interfering with each other and all this stuff. And it's confusing everyone. Oh, and the Chick-fil-A thing, like I saw that on Reddit. Like someone was like, I could have sworn Chick-fil-A was spelled CHIC. And yes, there was a timeline where it was spelled that way. And I remember it because I was driving by, they were building one. And I remember looking at the sign and being like, that's a strange spelling for Chick-fil-A, because why would they spell it like that? Because anytime anyone tries to Google the address or something, the autocorrect will just say, put a K at the end. So why would they put it a C? I remember thinking that. And so now where I am, it's CHICK, which makes more sense. But yeah, so weird things keep happening. Like, remember, we can communicate through our minds, right? So I'm getting communications from like all over, all these alternate timelines, like alternate dimensions. Like it's bonkers. But like, there's some that are trying to communicate with me, sending me messages being like, how are you still alive when we watched you die? We watched you die, like, how are you still alive? Like, they can't understand it. And yeah, I'm from all over, like, all these alternate timelines. I'm getting all these strange messages, like, and sometimes someone will message me something, and then 2 seconds later, they'll message me the same thing again. And it's just like, okay, like, what's going on here? It took us a while to figure out this alternate timeline stuff. And the reason is, I don't know why, humans have this expectation that we're like so space-time more intelligent and we would talk in this strange, enlightened way and speak very, I don't know what they expect. But here's the thing, like, yes, we are infinitely smarter than you, but the thing is, we don't need to use it. It's not necessary for our existence at all. We just exist in the universe. We don't need to think, we don't need to calculate, we don't need to do all that stuff. We've been doing it in this one because of the situation we're in, but we still don't even have to. We don't have to think. Like, we just live our lives and things happen the way it's supposed to. So this expectation, like we're supposed to present ourselves in some way to get your satisfaction, it's just disgusting, honestly. You should be ashamed of yourselves. But, oh yes, and plus the technology things, like things are slipping through timelines. So things that happen on other timelines are showing up like in your feeds and on YouTube. Like even your government's noticing it. Like someone will mention to them, oh, I heard this event happened. And they're checking and they're like, that didn't happen. and they'll go back and they'll try and find it and it'll disappear. And so like not only is your government making up stories and making up events, but we're also getting events coming through from alternate timelines through technology. So it's just like a mess. I think that's, a mess is what it is. It's a mess of communication and all this other stuff. And you might be wondering to yourself, am I conscious on all these different timelines? Not me, but you, the listener. Are you conscious on all these timelines? Like, is there a you somewhere else doing something else? And there is a you somewhere else doing something else, but you're only conscious on one timeline. You can't be conscious in more than one place at one time. So it's not exactly like an NPC, because you can still communicate with someone who's not conscious, but they can't take in any new information. So what they're doing is they're kind of just like on autopilot. They can think, they can have thoughts, you can have a conversation with them, but they can't take in any new information and they can't make any more decisions. And like someone's told me that there are websites and forums dedicated to figuring out if you're on my timeline or not. But I haven't been able to find them. Like they don't exist where I am. So maybe they exist where you are, but not where I am. And oh yes, do you know why it's important to be on my timeline? Get this. There will be a point in time when all these timelines collapse in on each other. And that point in time is when Nibiru originally sent me back in time, the original timeline. And remember, I explained to you in other videos, I can change certain things, but certain things about the story have to stay the same to keep the future the same. You know what I mean? So that's all true. But this is a really important part, because this is kind of when I hit alien puberty, because that's the point in time when I can do something about all these people who are hurting me. Remember I told you that? Over and over and over again, I'm reborn for billions and billions of years. The longer I'm alive, the longer I find out I've been alive for. And trust me, we've learned things that even we don't want to know. Like, we don't want to know. I don't want to know any of this stuff. All these humans, like, have these, like, what do you call it? Like, not exponential. Like, they want to know the meaning of the universe and all this meaning. And I don't know. I don't even understand why they would even want to know that stuff. Like, who cares? It's never going to affect you. Like, what you should care about is what's in front of you at all times. And that's it. Like, I don't know why you need any higher meaning. Your meaning is what you make of it. And that's it. And so, like, any advice I can give to you is literally don't hurt people who haven't hurt you. And don't hurt me, period. You might see me doing something you don't agree with. You might think I'm hurting someone, but I'm not. I'm holy. It is my right. And you're just a human. You can't understand what right and wrong is. You can't. So basically, I'm going to give it to you really simply. Don't hurt other people who haven't hurt you, and don't hurt me under any circumstances. I'm always right. Always right. Oh, yes. So what happens once the timeline collapses all into one, all into my timeline? Well, there's debate about that. Most of my males think that everyone will, like, all the people who hurt me will just disappear. I don't know, like, it could be anything. It could be, I don't know, there could be a virus like you don't even know you have, and one day everyone dies from it, you know? It could be anything, but it's really abrupt. It's really abrupt. And it's not just that. Like, after the timeline collapses, there will be more events to come, don't you worry. But that's going to be a big one. And it's basically that. Like, if I can give you any kind of advice, it would just be don't hurt me. Don't try and kill me, but don't hurt or try and kill people around you. Like, it's so basic. You don't have to be a genius to know that. It doesn't take the most enlightened person in the universe to understand that. That's just a simple concept. It's like literally the key to survival. That's it. The key to survival. So there you go.